Hi, this is Dave again. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you can use different backgrounds and textures to really enhance your layout. In ScrapPage, you can always start a background or your new project with a picture. And by a picture, I mean just a picture of anything. Now, I have some pictures here that might be of interest. I mean, you can see that I could start it with any of these colored background papers that I have. But kind of curiously, down here, I have a couple of images that I took just using my iPhone. I took pictures of actually a piano bench and use that wood background to be the wood photo to be the background of your layout. You can have these be anything. It can be like these down here were some pictures of some concrete that I took, and this was a picture of a stone wall. So anything can be a background, and I'll just pick this one right here for now, and we'll add that. Okay, let's put that in, and you'll notice now that ScrapPage sized the background to fit the image that you brought in. You can change that later if you'd want to, and that'd be a little bit more that I want to cover in this particular, that is in terms of cropping it and all, but I'll cover that perhaps a little later on. But right now you can see that this is an image, and I can turn it off. Okay, so there's the background. It's just a white background, but ScrapPage sized the background to match this image. Okay, so now let's use this as the backdrop of our layout, and I'm going to import some pictures, and I have a few here. Let's see, where is it here? I'll pick these four from out west. They're from Yosemite and from Muir Woods. Alright, so ScrapPage will load these the way it always does when you have a bulk picture load, and we'll kind of scatter these things around a little bit. Maybe we'll move the one from Muir Woods down here. We'll move this one from Yosemite over here, and this one from Yosemite up here. Okay, so we got these scattered around now. They can be, we'll resize them later to fit, because you can always resize things once you get stuff where you want it. Now, as I said, I'm going to talk about texturing here and how it can help you out to really make your layouts stand out. So let's pick this one to start with. Now, you'll notice the predominant theme back here is kind of a brownish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this thing a large background, but then when I color it, I'm going to go up here and pick a sort of a brown shade, and I'm going to set one of my standard textures. Now these textures, you can have all kinds of textures and get all sorts of effects. What I did here, this texture for instance, is simply a picture of some concrete on a bridge abutment. Okay, so I used that as a texture. I made a black and white image out of it, and there's my texture. So if I apply that, you'll see that I get a pretty cool looking frame around there. Now let's also give it a little bit of a shadow, just to stand it off the page some as well. All right, so maybe even more shadow. Let's make that a little more pronounced. We'll take it up to 6 and very high density. Okay, so if we see how that looks, yeah, that looks good. It's going to stand off the page nicely. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and apply that frame to every one of them. All right, so there. Now we've got all the pictures with the appropriate frame around them. Okay, so let's move them around, and we'll resize them a little bit and kind of position them so that, you know, they look kind of good. We can, like I say, we can always resize them later if we want to change things, but for right now I think I'll just move them around something like this. And maybe we'll resize him up and move him down here. All right, so maybe that's a nice layout we can start with. All right, so the other thing you might want to do is, I didn't mention, but you can put captions on pictures. So, well, I think we did that in one of the earlier videos, but I'm going to caption these as well. So let's tell it that this one here is it's a lodge in Yosemite. And let's make it semi-transparent, and let's find a good color for it. I think that might have been a good color, but we'll see if there's anything else that works better. And I think probably, yeah, that'll work okay. That'll work, so we'll leave that there. Okay, so you can see that now this is a lodge in Yosemite. This is obviously Half Dome down here, so we'll just title it Half Dome. And again, we'll go with a semi-transparent on it, and find one that works. And cycle through them, and maybe just that one might be the best, just a kind of a black semi-transparent background with the white. This up here is El Capitan, so we'll give El Capitan its due. Capitan. And again, we'll go semi-transparent. Now this one, I think, I don't know, maybe we'll give, let's see, try, yeah, that looks good for El Capitan. That's probably going to work down here for Mere Woods too pretty well. So we'll just type, and you can title these things anything you want, of course. I'm just doing this for brevity, but if we go semi-transparent here with Mere Woods, yeah, that looks good. Okay, so there we've got our 4 layouts now. Now we want to give this thing a title, so I'm going to, let's move these things down to where I got some extra room. I'll just kind of skinny this one down a little bit and move Yosemite down here, the lodge down here a little bit, something like that. Now we got this room up here for our title. So to do the title, I'm just going to add a text box, and once I add this text box, I'm just going to say I don't know, Western Trip. How's that? Now I want to pick kind of a rugged sort of font for this. So I have one here that I use for a lot of rugged stuff, and to make it fit in here, we're going to just auto size it up to where we want it to be. Maybe make it bold as well, and let's make it a little bit as big as we can possibly use it. And actually I can make it a whole lot bigger, and I'll show you that in just a second as to how I can do that. Now what I want to do here is I want to texture this thing with a texture, and in order to do that I have to make it an image, and I make it an image simply by going make it an image. Okay, it tells me that this is non-reversible, so I better have picked, or better have spelled things correctly and whatever. So I told it, okay, fine, so I did it. Now it's an image. Now being an image, it can be texturized. Alright, so we'll go down here, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to texturize it with an image texture. And to do that, I'm going to go pick an image, and what I'll do is go back up here into my folders where I have these papers. And remember, I had several papers down here that were papers of wood. Those 2 were piano benches. This one, believe it or not, is nothing other than a picture of the hardwood floor in my living room. So I just took that with the iPhone also, and now that would become a texture for me. So I'm going to apply that texture up here to this text that I typed in, the Western Trip, and we'll give it a little bit of a shadow to stand it off and make it distinct. Something probably about like that. And there. Now you can see that we've got that. It tells us that we took a Western trip. It looks very rugged, as if it was carved out by hand or something. And it goes along with all of these images. Now I didn't apply the shadows to these yet. Let's match the shadows. And we'll match that one, and we'll match that one, and we'll match that one. Okay, so now all of them have a nice shadow that stands them off. Move this up here so it's actually seeable on its shadow. And there, in a very short order, we've put together a really nice layout of 3 or 4 pictures, and texturized things to make the pictures really pop and stand off, as well as the title. So that's how you use textures in ScrapPage, along with, and as you can see, the textures can be just about anything. So that's the way it's done in ScrapPage to make things look pretty outstanding. So until the next time, this is Dave. Bye-bye.